I'm asking them to turn over the discovery that we are entitled to. They're questioning the witness on stand right now about it. She just stepped up and told you a minute ago that the only thing in the report was a 4-page report. That's not true.
Day 72 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial was ridiculous. Detective Dennis and Miss Love rate a timeline of every shooting they think is connected to the YSL and IF gang war. Then the last hour is completely wasted because Thug's lawyer says the state never turned over more discovery. What do you know? This day was a complete disaster, a lot of objections overruled that shouldn't have been. And then at the end of the video, you'll see Keith Adams says they didn't turn over more discovery. I don't know if it's true or not, but we'll see. Hit subscribe. Here we go. First look at Thug on day 72. He's got a Better Days sweater on right there. Interesting message.
Mr. Steele, I did in fact get your email correspondence from yesterday. You are correct that you cannot ask a witness like a detective. Hey, Detective Smith, what did Detective Green tell you? What did you learn from him? That would fall within that.
So it sounds like Brian Steele emailed the judge about Miss Love asking a detective what he heard from another detective, which is quite obvious because he has to be able to cross the other detective about it.
Sir can't give testimony about what he got from another officer. So I'm not going to let the state do that. You can certainly object.
No, and I thank you for making that clear.
As long as he just doesn't state what somebody else told him to relate to what he did, his interactions with other law enforcement officers or witnesses or the like, what he followed up on, that would not be improper.
All right, investigator Dennis is back up on the stand.
January 10th, which was the murder of Donovan Thomas, it led to us to backtrack and look at what led up to and what was coming afterward.
Or anything related to January the 6th?
Yes.
What groups?
Inglewood Family Bloods, IF Gang, and YSL.
Are Inglewood Family and IF Gang the same thing?
Both of them are blood gangs. At one point, they were all friends.
What's that?
January 8th, we had a shooting involving an IF Gang member. His vehicle was shot up.
On January the 8th, did anything happen at Club Crucial before or after that shooting that you investigated?
On January 8th? On January 5th and the 6th was Club Crucial. And then we also had another incident.
He said objection non-responsive.
We investigated a shooting at the TIG studio on January 8th. It's where Donovan Thomas, Rich Homie YFN or Rayshawn Bennett, YFN LUCCI recorded.
Why is this detective hiding his face? He's shown his face in this trial, but makes no sense.
Record at the vault.
Young Thug, YSL guys hung out at the vault. IF Gangs hung out at TIG.
So both of their studios.
And what?
Based on that answer, I understand that is, I believe that it changes the foundation of ruling in its hearsay.
I'm already objecting, sir.
So the mics are terrible today, but he's objecting, saying whatever Detective Dennis just said, that it's hearsay now.
Rayshawn Bennett, or aka YFN LUCCI, also recorded at the studio as well. January 10th, the murder of Donovan Thomas, aka Peanut.
All right, so now we're finally at the murder of Donovan Thomas. Remember, they allege that Shannon Stillwell on the screen right here is the shooter, I'm pretty sure, and Gotti was also in the car.
We had found a flyer in reference to an incident of a female that was associated with Mr. Williams. We believed it was his girlfriend at the time. It came up as a shots fired call.
The defense denies that it was Shannon, and they say it was YSL Woody, the guy that also snitched on everyone, and apparently he is going to testify as well at some point.
We basically located the shots fired call. We looked into it like we looked in every call that we received, and
Did you ever find a victim?
we did not.
Did you ever find a projectile?
We did not.
The person who made the call?
We did not.
Did you endeavor to do either of those things?
We did all of that.
Okay. And
I object to the relevance and that's stricken. Based on all the responses.
Oh, sir.
Judges overruling everything today from the defense.
who in your investigation was connected to these locations, if anyone?
These are family members of Kenneth Copeland.
All right, so it looks like she's starting a timeline in front of the jury. Here we go.
Chronologically, next. And whose home is that?
That's the brother of Kenneth Copeland.
And that was January the 12th,
Yes.
2015,
The house basically was a drive-by shooting.
of Kenneth Copeland's brother.
Correct.
Was Kenneth Copeland affiliated with any of the groups that you described? Club Crucial on January the 8th, 2015.
January 6th.
January the 6th, 2015.
Yes.
Which group did you investigate Kenneth Copeland as being a part of as it relates to the investigation you took place?
He was associated with YSL.
What type of incident was that?
Drive-by shooting.
Is that address connected with anyone who is, at that time in your investigation, associated with YSL?
Kenneth Copeland.
And what relation is the house owner of to Kenneth Copeland?
His sister.
And is his sister the person you're investigating as the victim or the perpetrator?
The victim.
I did not know Kenneth Copeland's family was getting shot up like this.
What type of event occurred on January 13, 2015 that you investigated prior to speaking?
Drive-by shooting.
Have any connection, based on your investigation, to anyone in YSL?
Yes.
What was the connection between the person and someone in YSL?
The stepfather of Jeffrey Williams.
The stepfather of Jeffrey Williams as a alleged perpetrator or alleged victim in this case?
Victim. Rayshawn Bennett's mother.
And does Rayshawn Bennett go by any other name?
YFN LUCCI.
Does YFN LUCCI have any affiliation or connection to any of the groups that you mentioned being at Crucial on the 6th?
Yes.
Which group?
IF Gang.
Are you investigating YFN LUCCI's mother as the victim or alleged perpetrator?
Victim.
And they connect Thug to that shooting because he says, I shot at your mommy and now you no longer mention me in a song. I think the song with Juice WRLD. Yeah, I think it's called Bad Boys. Yeah.
Kenneth Copeland's brother vehicle was shot as it exited 75 South at University.
So all of this is after the Donovan Thomas murder, by the way. All of this, because that murder was on January 10th.
And is this the same Kenneth Copeland associated with YSL?
Yes. Lucci's mom house got shot up again.
They shot up Lucci's mom's house twice in 4 days. If we're going by evidence, there's zero evidence that it was anyone in this courtroom besides just gang affiliation. And there was a gang war going on. That's it.
She gave us a video from Club Crucial of Kenneth Copeland flashing a large sum of money. It was a social media post of Antonio Sledge and Quindarius Zachary both holding weapons, antagonizing the rival gang and Kelvin Watts.
Look at this shit show of handwriting. I'm sure the jury's going to understand all of this when they have to think about.
Was Kelvin Watts related genetically?
Objection, your second.
Outstanding, objection.
Did you find through your investigation any connection between Kelvin Watts?
Objection, same. Your second.
Your Honor,
Let her finish the question.
what was the connection? And is this the same Donovan Thomas who was murdered on January 10th?
Yes,
All right.
they're half brothers. Kelvin Watts was shot at 409 University Avenue. Kenneth Copeland was coming out of his home and was shot at with his girlfriend and their small child. Dexter Montgomery was shot in the head.
Who did you investigate as the perpetrators of the April 12, 2015 incident?
Walter Murphy and Demise McMullen.
Is this the Walter Murphy that you had previously labeled DK in prior photos?
Yes.
And is Walter Murphy also one that you connected with YSL during your investigation?
Yes.
Has to ask that question, even though we've gotten Walter Murphy on the stand and it took 3 weeks.
McMullen, Treadwell, Allison, and or Fatty associated with either of the groups you mentioned were at Club Crucial on January 6, 2015.
Yes.
What group?
YSL.
All of them?
All of them.
Little Wayne bless you.
The victim was his aunt.
Okay. Did his mother also live there?
Yes.
The aunt was shot, and the mother, was she shot?
No.
Was she inside the residence when the shooting occurred?
Yes. A drive-by shooting.
So Miss Love's putting a lot of effort in this whole timeline, which I understand. She's trying to make it easier for the jury to, grasp all this and see it on paper. So it's smart for her to do this. But if I was in the jury, I would wonder if any of these people got arrested for these shootings. Like, they only know the victims, and they just know the victims are associated with the gangs. So they're like assuming it's the other gang shooting at them. We know a YSL member got arrested for the Wayne shooting, but that's it so far. So they're saying on April 28th, 2 IF gang members' places got shot up on the same day.
Did anything occur on May 7, 2015 as it relates to YSL or IF gang that you investigated?
Yes.
What occurred on May 7, 2015 that you investigated as it relates to YSL or IF gang?
Quindarius Zachary was caught with an assault rifle.
Not even trolling, they barely have ever really connected Thug to anything besides people snitching on him.
Martinez Arnold and Diamante Kendricks was arrested after a high-speed chase where they basically were going to retaliate against IF gang.
Objection, false speculation.
Outstanding, objection.
Who were the persons involved in the incident on October 1st, 2015 that were in your investigation connected to YSL?
Martinez Arnold, aka Duke, Diamante Kendricks, aka Yak Guy.
And were they investigated as victims or were they investigated as perpetrators?
They was investigated as perpetrators.
Would you tell the jury where he is seated and an article of clothing that he is wearing?
He's the gentleman in the black sweater with the white collar in the front row.
Your Honor, would the record reflect that the witnesses identified Mr. Kendrick?
To show.
He looked at the camera. He like rolled his eyes a
You
little
also,
bit.
is Jeffrey Williams anyone that you recognize in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And would you describe where he is sitting and what he is wearing for the record?
The tan and red sweater with dreadlocks in the second row. I believe a handgun and an assault rifle. I tried to identify the individual I knew as PEWEE or ROSCOE, locate his government name.
Why did you seek to learn PEWEE's given name?
Because I was there and pretty much involved in the incident, and I figured that Cobb County wouldn't be aware of everything that was going on. To them, it would have just been another random shooting. By providing them with background, they can understand pretty much what led up to the shooting and the motivation of it.
Why did he try to get you to stop?
Because he saw an assault rifle on a seat.
Did you do anything to find out anything about the car Mr. Winfrey was in on the night of April 25th, 2015?
Yes.
What did you do?
I actually followed him on Instagram, and so I went to his page.
Hold on, bro. Followed someone he's investigating on Instagram who he thinks shot up Wayne's bus. What did this man post, bro? He posted some self-snitching shit, didn't he?
I knew him in passing for years, and I followed him on Instagram.
Was that out of personal interest or in your capacity as a law enforcement officer?
A little bit of both. I've never had any problems with him. I've known him since 2005. So anytime I saw him, even the night of this incident, I actually shook hands with him.
Shook hands with him. Sounds like Jimmy Winfrey might have been snitching back in the day, back in 2005 or something.
Yes, a picture of the white Camaro.
Oh, he posted the picture of the white Camaro, the car that shot up Wayne's bus. Okay.
It just gave a description of, I guess he had just got the vehicle, I'm not sure. And he, like most people, he was showing off his car. Once my partner located Mr. Winfrey, we learned that he was on probation. So we reached out to his probation officer, and she basically said, I'll have...
Ever say what anyone?
This detective has been stopped from saying what other people have said like 50 times. Dude, he does not know how to testify at a trial, bro.
It's the lunchtime hour, so I think I'm gonna stop at this one time.
Judge wants to eat his Domino's pizza real quick. Maybe jerk off in the back before coming out too.
Spoke of Kenneth Copeland being arrested. Did you all subsequently interview Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Oh, we're getting into the Kenneth Copeland interview. There's a legendary interview of YSL Woody snitching. And I think this is the interview they're talking about.
About 9 hours.
9-hour interview?
After you spoke with Kenneth Copeland on April the 28th of 2015.
To see if they have video of the entrance to the facility.
All right. And what is happening now?
We started the video back, and we basically screen grabbed the different vehicles that was leaving out at the same time as the white Camaro.
Okay.
God damn, how many cars is it?
The screen grab of Jimmy Winfrey's social media with a picture of the white Camaro.
How are you dumb enough to shoot up an A-list celebrity's tour bus in your car and also post it on Instagram?
Yes, the first car, I believe that was the car that Trontavious Stevens was driving. Green two-door Explorer.
And who did that green two-door Explorer belong to?
Jeffrey Williams' sister.
Showed the jury footage of all these cars leaving the studio they all record at. All these cars were at that, you know, Lil Wayne bus shooting incident area. The bus driver said it was the white Camaro that shot, and that was the only car near them, so.
They basically went to make a statement. They were aware of, from the interviews.
Speculation as to who what was aware of.
I sustain that.
Another example of him trying to say what other people are thinking or saying.
Indicate that the group was there to support Lil Wayne.
I'm going to object
Basis.
on 2 grounds. 1, speculation, and 2, the response calls for hearsay. It comes from someone else. Someone else's statement. It would be hearsay. Inadmissible.
I'm overrule your objection, Mr. Your objection, Mr. Jackson.
How is that overruled?
The people connected with YSL were there.
That's a leading question.
I stand the objection.
Did anything you learned in your investigation give you any indication that the group you discussed were there to support Lil Wayne?
Is the objection.
Got to court overruled.
No, I sustain this objection. That's the leading.
Okay.
She thought he f***ing overruled it. No, bitch. You got sustained.
Did you ever see Jeffrey Williams at the compound that night?
No.
What state was Jeffrey Williams?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Where is Lil Wayne from?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Speak with any persons that you've described as seeing at the compound the night of April 25th about why they were at the compound and not in New Orleans.
I believe when we spoke with,
Don't talk about who said what. Did any part of your investigation reveal the reception of Jeffrey Williams while he was performing in Louisiana on the night of April 25th, 2000?
yes,
Was the reception good or bad?
bad.
I think I remember there was a video of Thug getting booed on stage a little bit. I have a faint memory of that, so I'm not sure.
I shared information that we received through the interview of Walter Murphy. I basically shared what we did on our end in reference to his investigation. It basically was a joint investigation. Anytime we recovered any firearms, shell cases, or anything, we tried to make sure that they were getting processed correctly, because that is kind of what painted the picture of showing us what was connected and what wasn't. So when I say maybe, I didn't know if maybe I turned it into,
Were you or Gaither the original lead in that case?
no.
Who was the original lead?
The original was Detective Robinson out of Zone 3.
Did you personally know Detective Robinson out of Zone 3?
Yes.
Who, between you and Detective Gaither, would have been responsible for putting surveillance footage from the Dexter Montgomery shooting into the file?
She did.
Without saying anything about anybody, what anyone said to you, do you have any idea why it was that Detective Robinson didn't have an interview of Dexter Montgomery?
No clue.
Holy shit, today has been so boring.
Do you have any idea why at the time, a month after the shooting, there was no interview of Walter Murphy in Detective Robinson's file? I didn't ask what it
I
was.
sustain the objection.
When you first got the file involving the Dexter Montgomery shooting for Brandon Robinson, was there any interview of D'Angelo White in it?
No.
When you and Detective Gaither finished with the file, did you have at least 2 interviews of D'Angelo White in your file?
Yes.
Keith Adams asked for a sidebar. There's been probably an hour and a half, 2 hours of sidebar today, and they started late too. So today's been just a shit show of not organized. Judge is ordering his second pizza for dinner later.
Early approach in regards to questioning of the witness about a file or documents, investigation conducted by Investigator Robinson that I indicated we did not have. Madam Prosecutor indicated to the court that yes, we've been provided that in discovery. That's not the case. I've had an opportunity to pull back up what we received from the state, which is they said it was a 4-page report. What I've got is a 9-page report from Officer Robinson that makes reference to Officer Robinson conducting video recorded interviews that his report says he has, audio recorded interviews of different witnesses involved in the Dexter Montgomery case that he says, according to his report.
He being who? I'm sorry.
Officer Robinson. But he says, I conducted these interviews. They're available upon request. We've received none of those. In the 9 pages, it makes reference to an extensive investigation conducted by Officer Robinson and different witnesses he spoke to, different items of audio tape recordings, videotape recordings, none of which we have. And so the representation that was made to you earlier, unless they can show me somewhere in the discovery where we've looked.
Miss Love looks confident right now, but he's calling out the state for not giving them something when they said they did give him something. He said something about a 9-page report when they said only 4 pages. So this trial is a f***ing disaster.
I don't believe we have that.
Okay, what are you asking me to do, Mr. Adams? Because at the end of the day, what is it you're seeking from the court?
Well, 2 things. I'm asking them to turn over the discovery that we are entitled to. They're questioning the witness on the stand right now about it. And in fact, we're getting some misrepresentation on the stand about there's no investigation had been done. Gaither and Dennis had to come behind and do all the things that Investigator Robinson did not do, that according to his report, he did in fact do, but we don't have those items.
Your Honor, Mr. Adams is not being entirely candid in terms of what we have just asked about. So, Mr. Adams...
Let's not say he's not being totally candid. Let's just say we have a disagreement at this point in time, because nobody intentionally wants to violate 3.3 of the Georgia Rules of Professional Responsibility, you nor any of your colleagues. So let's just say that we differ.
We differ.
Okay,
We differ.
right.
Your Honor, Mr. Adams referenced items that were not asked about of this witness at the time that I was questioning Detective Dennis on direct. I asked him whether or not there was a lineup of D'Angelo White. I asked him whether or not inside the file that they received from Detective Robinson was there surveillance footage, multiple angles of surveillance footage. I asked him were there interviews of Walter Murphy. Mr. Adams knows that those items he has because we've already introduced them and we have talked about them. Everything that I have asked this witness about, we have introduced as evidence.
So when you're asking those questions, the purpose of asking those questions, I from the court's perspective, I assume is that to potentially show what was not in the small report that Detective Robinson that Robinson did that we cannot find at this point in time.
No, what I'm doing is showing what all Robinson did not do, that detectives Gaither and Dennis did do, and that they then provided to the state, which we then provided to the defense.
Wait, so they're showing that the first detective on the case, Robinson, did a shitty job? Why are they doing that? What's
testimony that the jury should be allowed to consider in light of Mr. Schart's questioning of Detective Gaither and her report. So the point—
That's separate.
It is separate, but
that's a separate issue. You got her report, that's a separate issue, and then you got Robinson's report, which is a separate issue.
Right.
So which one are we focusing on at this point in time? Robinson's report or lack thereof?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what's the issue for the court at this point in time?
So what I have asked.
No report
No, there is a report.
from Robinson.
And Your Honor, we're talking.
Okay, and was that turned over to you in discovery?
It was.
Mr. Adams, was that turned over to you in discovery?
Yes, the report was turned over.
Okay, Robinson's report.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what is there left for me to resolve at this point in time? If that was turned over to you.
What is left for you to resolve is to order them. Well, first of all, the report makes reference to
Which report? Robinson's report?
Robinson's report
Okay.
makes reference to audios, videos, interviews that we do not have, that we've never received from the state. And let's not confuse the issue. She just stepped up and told you a minute ago that the only thing in the report was a 4-page report. That's not true.
Okay, all right. So but let's clarify. Hold on. Let's just clarify, Mr. Adams. Okay, there may be other things that the 4-page report refers to that you don't have and that are missing for whatever reason.
And I'm missing. No one has said they're missing. We just don't have them.
Okay, but if you don't have them, they're missing.
Well, no, if we don't have them, they haven't given them to us.
That doesn't. No, one does not equate the other. Because if the state doesn't have them to give them to you, it's because they have a duty to turn them over. If they didn't give them to you, that would be an ethical as well as potentially a Brady violation. Okay, but there's a presumption, but the presumption can be rebutted if they tell you as officers of the court, we have searched and we don't have it, and we have gone through all the steps and we don't have it. Because here's the thing: if they have it, or we find out they had it, then that's one thing. Then we'll certainly deal with that. Search to ensure that you don't have any of those
Your Honor,
any of those videos or interviews that were in Robinson's report.
the only file that we have is the one that we were given by Detectives Gaither and Dennis after the conclusion of their.
So you don't have
So we
any
don't
of those other, I would say, documents by incorporation from his report. You don't have any of those.
We do not.
Okay. All
Your Honor,
right.
what I'm
Can you all personally ask me one more question? I need to ask you this.
what a f***ing shit show this goddamn trial is. Oh my god, why doesn't everyone have everything they need? And the last 30 minutes is them standing up here discussing all this. And I would imagine the judge is pissed that this is happening again, where the trial keeps getting delayed each day. Miss Love just comes off as rude. Her attitude just seems like the defense has to prove that they're innocent when they don't. Like, these guys are presumed innocent right now. I just don't like Miss Love at all. And a lot of people don't either. So I'm not the only one. Hit subscribe. Love you guys. Peace out.